All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Melanie Gomez, and I am the program manager for our individual programming at It's Time Texas. This does include our physical activity and nutrition education programming and telehealth programs. It's so great to be with you all this morning, and we look forward to the great conversations that are in store for us today. Just a few housekeeping items before we get going. Please feel free to engage in the chat, whether it be questions you may have, or also just wanting to engage in the conversation regarding the content. If something resonates with you and you wish to share with everyone, please do so. Someone else may be working through something similar. So with that, we'll go ahead and get going. Next slide. And today, presenting with me today is our amazing health coach, Natalie Richardson. And I'll let Natalie tell you a bit about herself and what you have to look forward to today.
Thank you. Amazing, Melanie. My name is Natalie Richardson, and I am one of the health coaches at It's Time Texas. It's Time Texas is a 501c3 nonprofit empowering Texans to lead healthier lives, build healthier communities, and contribute to a healthier state. And before we get started, I do want to thank our funders. We are one of the recipients of SNAP education grants, and without their support, we would not be here today. Okay. So today I'm going to share a little of the knowledge that we have gained through providing health coaching services in the past 6 or 7 years. We will look at supporting someone through goal setting so they may engage in healthier behavior changes or healthy behavior changes. We will review stages of change and learn how to evaluate a client's readiness in making behavior change. Then we will review SMART goals and learn how to guide a client in making SMART goals according to their level of readiness. We will cover what this looks like during the multiple sessions and following the ebb and flow of creating healthy habits. After the session, you should feel ready to continuously assess stages of change and create SMART goals for healthy behavior change. All right, and then before we dive into this, let's talk about health behaviors. As you all can imagine, people have been trying to figure out how to change people's health behavior for decades. There are thousands of studies and theories for changing people's health behavior and to help people like stop smoking, stop drinking alcohol, or to change their drug use disorder, to take their diabetes medication, etc. In our coaching program, we use a little bit of social support theory and follow-up care and the trans-theoretical model, focusing on the stages of change specifically. And we use SMART goals and we heavily use motivational interviewing. But we'll just focus on the trans-theoretical model, stages of change, and SMART goals for this theory. Okay, so what is the trans-theoretical model? Many of you might have heard, may have used it before. Just so we're all on the same page, the trans-theoretical model, or TTM for short, is a theory that uses key constructs from other theories to conceptualize the process of intentional behavior change. Whereas other models of behavior change focus exclusively on certain dimensions of change, like for example, theories focusing mainly on social or biological influences, the TTM seeks to explain change that can be applied to a variety of behaviors, populations, and settings, and hence the name of trans-theoretical. TTM recognizes change as a process that unfolds over time, involving progress through a series of changes. While progression through the stages of change can occur in a linear fashion, a nonlinear progression is common as well. Often individuals recycle through the stages or regress to earlier stages from later ones. And for a person to change their behavior, all stages must be experienced, worked through one at a time, to be able to achieve change. During this process, a person will almost certainly fall into relapse and then need to start the process again before successfully achieving change. So let's look at each stage of change. Pre-contemplation. Okay, so this is the first one. A person in pre-contemplation does not intend to take action about their behavior. They avoid thinking, talking, or reading about the behavior. Usually they are characterized as resistant, unmotivated, not ready for health change. In relation to diabetes management, this might sound like, oh, stop worrying about me. Haven't you heard about dying old, fat, and happy? The best way to support a client in this stage is just to maintain communication. Maybe talk about other health behaviors that the client is willing to talk about, or maybe just talk about what the client likes to talk about. All right. The next stage is contemplation. And in this stage, the person is thinking about changing their behavior, but hasn't started taking steps yet. And they are aware of the pros and the cons of changing. They can get stuck, though, in ambivalence. And they probably won't make the change within the next 6 months. An example of what this phase might sound like is, I know eating chocolates at night is bad, but I have a strong sweet tooth. The best way to support a client in this phase is to facilitate health education, sharing facts and data that the client is interested in learning about or asks about, and facilitating research for the client. Next stage is preparation. The person intends to change their behavior soon. They have already made some small steps to prepare for the change. They have a plan of action or are constructing one. This might sound like, I need to lower my glucose. I enrolled in a healthy cooking class, and I'm looking at healthier alternatives to soda. A good way to support a client in this phase is providing information, resources, making SMART goals with them, and providing accountability on those SMART goals, which we'll get further into later on. Okay, after preparation is action. In the case of diabetes management, it may take months of preparing to actually get into the phase of action. The person has made specific changes to their lifestyle, meaning they have gotten rid of harmful habits and are forming healthy new habits. They are making frequent changes to their lifestyle and may be experiencing difficulty in the new routine. They typically haven't experienced relapse yet, but they may do so in this stage, or likely they will do it in this stage. An example of what this would sound like is, it's been a month since my sugar readings have been in a good range. Woohoo! It may be a good idea to talk about Plan B if you're supporting a person in this behavior change. Preparing for an event of relapse. So talk about Plan B just in case things get off track. And also remind the client to not go too fast with additional changes. Usually once people are in action, they're like, oh, let's go, 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 go. And sometimes if you're supporting a person, it's like, okay, well, remember, one step at a time. And this all you can do through SMART goals. Now relapse. Dun, 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 dun. At any moment, your client is thrown off track and gets stuck. That is called relapse. This can happen during preparation, action, and maintenance. They are making preparations or started taking actions, but something throws them off track, like getting sick, going through the holidays, twisting your ankle. Your support here is needed the most in this phase. And the best thing that you can do is be a good listener, be compassionate, let them tell you when they are ready to get back on track. My clients sometimes are ready to get back on track during the same phone call. For example, they just need to vent about all the bad things that happened that day, or they confess all the things that they've eaten in the birthday celebration, and then they're ready to start back on again. But sometimes it takes months to get back on track, especially if there's an injury involved and a client has to shift focus on priorities, or like if the client is experiencing housing or food insecurity issues. So again, the best way to support them is just to be there for your client and to be a good listener. Maintenance. This phase is amazing for a health coach. The person has made specific changes to their lifestyle and is now working to prevent relapse. Their bodies are used to the changes, and they even crave the changes, like for example, in physical activity, like people start feeling that they need to walk, they want to do their exercise, they want to go to the gym, it just feels good. They've already made all the big and hard changes. And in diabetes management, it might sound like, I can't stand the sweetness of soda anymore. I haven't had it in 8 months, and I had a sip of soda the other day and it tasted nasty. Those are always good things to hear as a health coach. Okay, and then termination. A person has no temptation to relapse and have 100% self-efficacy. It is as if they've never had the previous behaviors in the first place. And this might sound like, oh, I can't believe I was living like that. That was no life at all. I feel like who I was in the past doesn't exist anymore. I am a different person. And unfortunately, usually I don't get to share this stage with clients because they are already out of the nest, flying on their own after achieving maintenance. But this phase is a dream come true for a health coach. Yay. Okay, now looking at SMART goals. As mentioned during the preparation and action phases, SMART goals are helpful in behavior change because they can help people get very clear about what steps they need to take, and it makes it easier to keep people accountable to their SMART goals. So as health coaches, we help clients make SMART goals at the end of each session and follow up on the progress of these goals during the next session. The trick is to make sure the SMART goal matches with the stage of change that your client is currently in. So you will always want to assess first where your client is in that stage of change, and then help them create a SMART goal according to where they're at. That way you're truly making the goal attainable for them. So let's look at what makes a SMART goal SMART. SMART goal is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Specific, make your goals specific and narrow for more effective planning. Measurable, define what evidence will prove you're making progress and reevaluate when necessary. Attainable, make sure you can reasonably accomplish your goal within a certain timeline. Your goal should align with your values and long-term objectives to be relevant. And time-based, set a realistic, ambitious end date to task prioritize and motivate. Okay, so what would this look like with a client? Let's look at an example of a case and create a SMART goal together. Juan has an overarching goal, and his is to lower his A1C. So far, he has taken the first step in talking to a coach about this and wants to start making changes. Where is Juan according to stages of change? He wants to make a change and has taken a first step, but he has not yet lowered his A1C. So he's in preparation stage. So when we help Juan make a SMART goal, we're going to guide him in making goals that help him prepare for lowering his A1C. Very often I need to remind clients to go one step at a time and not to try to do too many changes at once, because we need to get used to these changes first and turn them into habits. After these turn into habits, we can build more on them. Okay, so Juan's first step is asking for help in lowering his A1C. After assessing how much knowledge he has on diabetes and what steps he's taken thus far, I ask Juan what he thinks he can do better as far as his health goes. And Juan says, I eat too many tortillas. I want to eat less tortillas. And this is where you can help him turn that statement into a SMART goal. All right, so eating less tortillas. Is it specific? Yes, it's tortillas. It's not just carbohydrates in general. Specifically, he wants to lower tortillas. Is it measurable? No, but let's change that. Let's ask Juan what limit he wants to give himself on tortillas per day. And we find out that Juan is eating 5 tortillas per day. Let's see if he wants to lower to 2 or 3. He says 2. Okay, measurable. It's measurable now. We're going to limit those tortillas to 2 a day. Is it attainable? And this is where you go back to the stages of change to answer that question. Is this a step in preparation? Yes, this is one step in preparation to lower his A1C. Is this goal relevant? Yes, because eating less tortillas is one way of reducing his carb intake, which, in addition to other changes, will help reduce his A1C. And is this goal time bound? Not yet. Let's make it time bound. Let's ask Juan if he can do this goal for the next 2 weeks until we get to follow up with him in the next session. And Juan says yes. And now we've got a SMART goal for Juan. He wants to limit tortillas to 2 per day for the next 2 weeks. That is one SMART goal. If Juan wants to work on other things at the same time, if he feels like he can, if he's interested in, we can add more of those. So other examples, maybe he wants to limit sodas to just doing 3 of them a week for the next 2 weeks, and then no ice cream at night for the next 2 weeks. That's what Juan was ready to do. So these are 3 SMART goals that Juan has made. Now your follow-up with Juan. Depending on how attainable these SMART goals truly are, and if life has not thrown an oddball out for Juan, you never know, Juan will have succeeded with these goals or not by your next session. So during this follow-up, you'll need to listen carefully to assess where Juan is at with his stages of change. Again, you'll have to do that every time. Always assess where they're at. Was he able to succeed, or did something throw him off track and is he in relapse right now? Was he able to work at some of these goals successfully, but not the whole thing? Then he's still in preparation stage, and we just have to adjust those goals. Was he able to succeed completely? Yes, that would be great if he is. Then the next step would be to continue on with those same goals. Don't add in anything yet, because we're still at just the first 2 weeks. We want to do at least 4 weeks to create a healthy habit. So keeping those goals just as they are, if he was successful at it, good. If the goals were too high, then we need to help him readjust to something more attainable, right? The important thing is to get the ball rolling somewhere, and then to create a momentum. And then with that momentum, you'll be able to create a habit. And then after that habit is created, you keep on adding one habit at a time. It takes a while, but this is sustainable behavior change. Okay, so follow-up. It's important to have follow-up with your clients. One, of course, you follow their progress. You get to reevaluate their stage of change every time and readjust those SMART goals according to where they're at and to how much was achieved. You especially provide accountability during follow-up, so they feel like, oh, I need to do this right because I'm going to tell Natalie the next time. But most of all, follow-up is really important for social support, because we're all going to have relapse. Everybody's going to have a bad day, get thrown off track, and they just need to remember to be compassionate with themselves to get back on track whenever they're ready. Okay, so concluding, stages of change help you support a client. A stage of change informs SMART goals, so you're making the right attainable goal. And SMART goals make steps in change clear and concise. And follow-up provides social support, accountability during changes. And that is all I have for you. I'll leave it to you, Melanie.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Questions, please feel free to chat or insert them in the chat, and we certainly have a few minutes to address them here. But while you are thinking about some questions, or maybe just want to, send a few comments in the chat, we are going to just want to review some programming resources that we do have available with It's Time Texas. And our first one is our telehealth coaching program, which I introduced you all at the very beginning, but free personalized support available to anybody in the state of Texas. And they can call or text the number listed on the screen, or also contact us via the website as well. So we invite you all to check that out, whether you want to use it for you, your clients, maybe you feel this would be a great fit for them. That's something they're needing to help them reach their goals. Certainly available to them for their use. And our next resource here in our individual health programming, as I mentioned, was our virtual physical activity and nutrition education classes. We do offer free virtual classes that include exercise formats such as mixed fit, Zumba, kickboxing, yoga, and more. All fitness levels are welcome. Most classes are also bilingual. We do have morning times and evening times available Monday through Saturday. And you can also view our schedule and register to take a class with one of our instructors via our website as well. And we'll make sure to put those in the chat at the very end to so you can access that. And I do want to point out, yes, if you go to the website, it does say Stronger Austin. Our initiative originally was created in Austin, hence the name, but I assure you it's available to all Texans. And finally, I do want to remind you all, our 2022 Community Challenge is underway right now. I hope most of you are registered already. But very easy to register at our website. Awesome competition, 8-week competition to get your health journey started, help a client's health journey get started, and just have it for accountability, motivation. You upload your health activities via our app and have a chance to win prizes each week. Not only that, great opportunity for school districts as well to win prize money towards their health initiatives as well. And with that, we will go ahead and certainly go to some questions here. I did see some action in the chat. So yes, Moises, you can certainly share. I'm assuming you were referring to our resources to share on the website. Okay, yes, certainly. So glad it was helpful, Dalia. So we have a question here, Natalie. Are there any standard goals that have been reached that you might share with us other than tortillas and Coke directly for food? Hence, for example, if they're a big foodie.
Oh, unmute myself. Great question. Yeah. So just thinking of the common ones that my clients usually work on. Oh, first of all, my clients get to choose what they feel most ready to do. So that is always where I start first. I can't give them goals and tell them to do things. They'll kind of assess what they're ready to start doing or what they've been thinking already on doing. So I would say, though, a common one is most of my clients will start eating more vegetables, like a salad every other day or steamed vegetables every other day, just as a start. Tortillas, lessening tortillas is a big one. Once they get the ball rolling, though, common ones would be to start actually following the diabetes healthy plate that the CDC and the American Diabetes Guidelines provide, which is to make half of your plate full of vegetables and then the 2 other quarters, 1 portion carb and 1 portion protein. So it's after small changes when my diabetes clients are ready for like something more strict, like adhering to a plate plan. Other goals are like meal prepping. That's a common one. A lot of people feel like they just need to get organized and start meal prepping so they're prepared when they get busy in the week. And a common trend I see is that people buy groceries on Saturdays, cook for the first 2 or 3 days on Sunday, and then use Wednesday night to cook for another 2 meals. yeah, I see a whole bunch of fun goals that people have been achieving. Oh, and one that's really important that we don't think about, not even asking, is if people have a schedule for eating. I find a lot of times that a lot of my diabetes clients have either a job that have them working 8 hours without a break to eat, or if they're like eating something, it's just like a little nibble of something, and they get back home and they're starving and they overeat. And it's really dangerous. Your blood sugars can go way down and then way up high. So sometimes that first goal is to just keep a schedule for yourself to eat. All right, I hope those were useful. Any more
Thank you.
questions?
Sally, I see your hand up. Do you still have a question?
Hey, I really enjoyed it, by the way. So I did have a question regarding uh, specifying goals and I guess whether you would recommend building in some leeway into the goals. So like if you indicate that you will eat two or fewer tortillas every day for the next 2 weeks, and if you falter even one of those days, then at the end of those 2 weeks, you didn't technically meet that goal, right? So do you recommend ever like saying like 5 out of the 7 days or 13 out of the 14 days, or you'll eat no more than two, to kind of give some padding or some cushion so that way they get the win of, even kind of building in like you're gonna have some days where you're not gonna make it and that's okay. Or do you guys recommend no, it's either kind of the all or nothing?
I think my clients work best with the cushion and not the pass or fail. That would be really stressful. Some clients put that stress on themselves though. So I just remind them like, oh, we've got another week to try this out. Let's try it again as long as they don't feel defeated. And that's the important thing. Making your goal attainable, or what they think is attainable, is really important. So by the end, if they almost get it, they don't feel defeated and they can try again. And for my weight loss clients, what I have seen that kind of gets people excited is having a little cheat day, or not day, but a cheat treat, once every week or once every 2 weeks if you've had like impeccable behavior with eating. That way, like if they're on a very strict diet, they can still enjoy, that little sliver of cheesecake or that little piece of chocolate, and not feel like they can't eat those things for the rest of their lives. It's just that now they're eating it as like in a very special moment because they've earned it, or maybe just not like overdoing it as maybe they have in the past. So that cushion, that flexibility, I think is very important for anybody. We're humans, we're not black and white, and it'd be very sad to not have tortillas for the rest of your life. So yeah, and usually when we're doing goals, we make these pushes until we see that their body is responding. Once a person starts losing weight, I don't recommend pushing any further. We'll just keep on doing the same routine until their body stops losing weight, and then we'll go again. We'll push them some more. I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. And I did see a couple more questions come in, but unfortunately we have reached our time. We can certainly send out our contact info with a follow-up email. And I did insert our survey link in the chat. We would appreciate if you all could take the time to fill it out and send us your feedback so we can help, so we can work on improving our work and continuing to meet the needs of the community. But thank you all so much for being with us today. And we look forward to hopefully working with more of you on a one-on-one very soon.